Hey all, and welcome back to the Hellfire Comms playthrough of Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. The path before us has split in twain, and now we have a bit of a choice. So guys, do we want to go the prequel route with Birth by Sleep, or the sequel route with Dream Drop Distance? Tanner, what's your decision?
I think both me and Richie are such a stickler for canon order, we gotta start with Birth by Sleep.
Agreed. And the other reason for that is that Dream Drop Distance dovetailed completely into Kingdom Hearts 3, so it would feel really odd to go any other order.
Fair enough. I'll just do this first song with Team Classic, mostly because I forgot to switch, and then we'll switch to Team Bubus. Oh, damn, what a jump to start us with.
The Land of Departure, even though it wasn't necessarily used to the fullest extent that it could have been, what a great world.
It's a great tutorial world that really, it literally is called the Land of Departure, meaning like, hey, you're gonna be here just to leave, which is it's a good idea.
A lot more floppy enemies here on out, so don't get confused by their movements. Go to the beat.
Oh, the mandrakes! Oh, the mandrakes!
Not a fan.
There's another type of unversed later that when it came up in the as a note there, I sort of started to get some PTSD. Let's just say that Valve is involved.
Oh yes, those blighters.
Or even like the boot enemies. In general, I'd say the unversed have some of the most annoying enemies in the franchise, where it's just like, come on, I just want to hit you!
Well, that's kind of perfect for a raw emotion, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just want to take out your rage on a boot and the boot says, no, I'm hard right now.
As you do. Also, I just realised that I was listening to completely the wrong song.
Yeah. This is such a good little, starting bop, because all of the Birth by Sleep sort of original songs have such a higher energy compared to some of the previous Kingdom Hearts songs, and it's like, yeah, you listen to this and you're like, yeah, let's get going. There's a specific boss fight song, which Tom mentioned earlier by name, that I was like, I don't remember, what this was, and then as soon as it started playing, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is my jam.
Oh, Goofy. Thank you for making that a bit of an anticlimax, mate. He says knowing full well he's in control, and Goofy is but a prisoner to the winds of fate. I'll go back and triple cross that. Really, it's my own fault for not choosing Team Bubus.
Oh, exactly. It's totally that caused the issue.
Ah, Chain of Memories out. Don't know why we're getting it here, but it's kind of randomised, I would think.
Alright, we're moving on now to the next song here, or not. Tom is not following what I'm saying. Oh, jeez.
It's because we need to go to Team Bubus.
Bubus! Let's go back to the Land of Departure and the Promised Beginning, which is the slowest song. It really should be first, but chronologically, Future Masters does come first.
Ah, they're going by the order that you hear them in, not the order of, slower and then faster. What a strange, pedantic choice.
Speaking of pedantic, Ven was as big as Terra and Aqua there, which ain't true at all. But, there we go.
Thank you for allowing me to sync my song perfectly. We're all good now.
So how do we feel about the Wayfinder Trio, I believe they're called?
Oh, I love them. I mean, the main love pretty much goes to Aqua, because Aqua is the best, and easily the most competent of all of the Keyblade Masters, even though, she does totally get stuck in the World of Darkness Realm of Darkness for a decade, and didn't really notice that Terranaut was Terranaut, but there we go.
Well, it was a decade her time, but as she said in there, one footstep could be thousands of years for her time. She doesn't know. Time there is scary. So, she might have suffered for even longer.
Kind of getting Heaven Sent vibes with the way you describe it there, Tanner.
In general, I do like this trio. I think a little bit of the dislike that I may have for them just simply comes from the writing style of Birth by Sleep, which is a little bit more, how can I say, it's very literal to the Japanese, which leads to fairly boring English writing. Because as soon as, even a fragmentary passage, you start to see, oh hey, when given, proper voice direction and way more editorialized, script writing, boy, these characters are a lot more fun. So I think when they're given time to shine, then they're really good. But the problem does come from, JRPG translation shenanigans.
And I will say, I think what also didn't help is that, some of the voice direction in Birth by Sleep didn't really do much. Mostly for, I would say, Aqua and Terra.
Yep.
Because even though both of their actors do a very good job of performing those characters, there was a lot of very flat line reads, whereas Jesse McCartney as Vern had, I think, all of that experience from voicing Roxas. So he was already understanding of how that whole process worked, and also what he wanted to get out of it, whereas I don't think Willa Holland and I can't remember the other guy's name.
That guy, Terra's actor, that's his name.
Jason Doring, that's it.
There you go, more like Jason Boring, am I right?
Oh, nice!
Zayno smiled in sync for that, yes, you made her funny.
Heard your joke across time and space. It was a truly dark joke.
Terra and Aqua were tasked.
But I like Terra, he is literally Anakin Skywalker. I mean, fuck, Luke's right there, come on.
Meanwhile,
Oh my god, you're so right. How did I never put that together? Oh my god, it's all episode 1!
Well, it's more Revenge of the Sith than anything, but yeah.
Ventus chased after him.
I think one of the other things that I always quite loved about Birth by Sleep is that you effectively had Star Wars versus Star Trek in the fact that you had Mark Hamill as Master Ericus and then Leonard Nimoy as Master Xehanort. And just that dynamic was just completely nerdy and wonderful.
And then Disney bought Star Wars, and now we're going, oh no, wait, will this actually become a thing? Oh, jeez.
The only Star Wars I want in Kingdom Hearts is fucking Mandalorian, alright?
Okay, but Darth Maul? Boss fight? Maybe?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I mean, fuck, Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix was fucking wielding double lightsabers. Oh boy, here we go.
So I just played through some of this, trying to catch up for our playthrough, and I noticed that I actually had a lot of trouble with the Disney side songs for Birth by Sleep. This one was fine, because of course it's Bippity Boppity Boo and I know the beat, but I actually found myself having a really difficult time with them, especially the Peter Pan and Lilo and Stitch ones. So it was interesting because I was like, these are really hard, and then as soon as I got past them, I'm like, oh, now I can, do the rest of them on Proud. But for some reason, this batch is surprisingly difficult even on Standard.
I don't quite know what it is, and I'm pretty sure that it's in this particular section that I want to say it's Castle Escapade, but I can't remember exactly where that turns up. I think that was my least favourite song to play because the timings on it were just really, really odd.
So, have any of us here seen Cinderella 2 or 3?
Yes.
Thoughts?
Cinderella 2 is... it's a standard Disney sequel. Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, is actually fantastic.
Yeah, I'm happy we got someone else who thinks that.
It's one of those things where you just look at it and you just go, this shouldn't be this good.
I've seen the anthology one. Is that 2 or 3?
That's 2.
Well then, I'm denied the pleasures of time travel and Cinderella.
I was gonna say 3 is about Cinderella time traveling as an action hero, which is, like, totally different and kind of amazing.
Oh, bless.
Oh, this is it. Castle Escapade. I hate it.
Well, we'll bring Michael with us, and we'll see what's what. You'll want to smile then, you fucking murderer. Oh, there are antics in Union Cross, guys.
There are antics.
We got Mickey Mouse in his Birth by Sleep era clothes, which, let's just assume that this is him just putting on, you know, an old outfit.
Oh, I'm starting to see what you mean.
It's weird.
And I would say that this is, to me anyway, the weakest constructed song for gameplay. Just none of it felt right, and I just felt really grotty after I finished it.
It was this point where I went, wait, is this a bad music rhythm game? And then as soon as I got past, I'm like, no, what the hell? It's amazing. Why are these couple songs just so bad?
I think that's because what normally happens in most rhythm games is that, even if you don't necessarily like all of the songs, they all play the same enough that you don't really notice any of them being bad to play. I suppose because this is much more action-oriented, and also probably because for quite a lot of us, even if we couldn't necessarily sing all of the songs straight off our heads, we know the majority of them and know how they're supposed to go. So the second that you end up with something that doesn't quite feel right, you're suddenly just like, oh, so something feels wrong here. But you did very well on that one, Tom.
I was gonna say, we were dunking on it the whole time, and you got a dang full chain.
Hell yeah. Problems?
So clearly, we just suck, Tanner.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that is the case.
Nice. Okay, no cutscenes there. I gotta say, I love BBS for its fairy tale quality. I mean, even the first 3 worlds are fucking classic princess films. They do a good job of making the gameplay feel fresh, even if combat is a bit heavier than usual in Kingdom Hearts, while retaining that prequel classic feel.
Oh, definitely. And there it is, the tumbling.
I'm shaking with pleasure!
Oh, it's so good. It's funny because when you see this, you know, you get this maestro in Unverse, and you're like, oh, we're gonna get some like orchestra music, right? And it's like, nah, get ready for the hypest Battle Network techno, you know, that you haven't seen since Recoded. Well, I guess this came out first though, but oh well.
Although, I mean, this is one of the things where, in terms of the World Tour order, I end up feeling a little bit confused, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Because, obviously, if you're going chronological game release, then, yeah, Recoded came out after Birth by Sleep, so why is it sitting here in the order immediately after Recoded? But then also, when you look, if you're going with the chronologically in terms of when did these events in the franchise happen, this is right back at the start. So why isn't it connected there, like zero point 0.2 is.
Yeah, it's kind of trying to be both release order and chronological, which doesn't work for Kingdom Hearts, because it's very much it doesn't release in chronological order series. So I think they should have just stuck to one. Either it's release order or it's chronological. Pick one, stick with it, not this whole flip back and forth wildly sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, because it's close enough. I think my only bits where I just go, are the fact that Days doesn't appear and end before Kingdom Hearts 2, because plot-wise that's when that happens. And yeah, just maybe just loop it round for Birth by Sleep, so you get to it at that point, but it unlocks at that point, and then you just you've got a cycle, and then you can go off on the Dream Drop Distance route.
I honestly wouldn't have even minded if they did a thing where they just kind of, like, if games are happening simultaneously, like they kind of do with Days and stuff, if they had them be incorporated in to the same section, just at, kind of side by side. Like the Kingdom Hearts timeline.
That was tough. But hey, it wanted me to do it on Proud, so I did it on Proud. Probably would have got a higher score. Oh no. Just the 1 star?
You got the tougher one, though. The other 2 are easier and can be done on standard.
Hey, that's what I likes to hear. That's what I likes to hear. Ah, there he is himself, the maestro.
What a cool boss. I love symphony-style bosses.
Oh god, yeah.
Back down to this. We don't need items here. Oh, well, these 2 may do. One's for extra EXP, another is for extra items, both of which kind of complement each other.
Yeah, although it does mean that you're not going to get that particular mission, but
It's alright. We can get those, afterwards. Not on camera, but, when Tom is just thinking to himself, man, I sure want to relive some of these Kingdom Hearts songs, and he can play them all to his heart's desire.
it's very true.
No offense to the Secret Whispers, but I don't think that's going to be one I'm hankering for when time comes to play a bit of Melody of Memory off screen.
Nope.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. I think Secret Whispers is one of those where do it to complete all the missions, and then do it on all difficulties to get that particular feat / trophy. Because there are trophies and / feats for beating every song on beginner, every song on standard, and every song on proud.
Hey, that's a lot of content if you're one of those completionist types. It'll give you, at least $1 for every hour it'll take you.
There's also definitely trophies and feats for completing, I think it's 50 songs in each difficulty with a full chain. In terms of feats, I don't know whether there are feats for completing all songs with a full chain or not. Wouldn't surprise me, but I haven't done any investigating into what all the feats are, because there are far more feats than there are trophies.
Okey-doke. So, how do we feel about the use of Snow White in this prequel game, Tanner?
See, I definitely don't love Snow White because of the fact that it is kind of really ancient, and I have a hard time going back to it. But I think it does a pretty good job of at least nailing the aesthetic, and being it feels like it was put in because the other ones were in, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. But it's non-offensive to me, I'd say.
I mean, I would say that I really do like the fact that they went with the 3 original Disney princesses for the opening of Birth by Sleep, because obviously we'd seen all of them in the first Kingdom Hearts, but hadn't really had much chance to spend any time with them, so it was cool to get to experience those stories. And I think that in basically all of the cases they did a very good job of representing them. in game formats, and I think that they worked really well. And also that even, splitting up bits of the story across the 3 characters was able to work effectively.
I think it would only work with movies of that era, because if you were to do that for, more modern movies, that's when you get some of the problems that people had with Dream Drop Distance, where it's like, it feels like the story kind of gets stretched across 2 characters, versus here, where it very much, it's fine to split it up, because the stories are so old and, you know how Cinderella goes. You're fine with getting bits and pieces in whatever order you decide to play as.
I think also what helped is that, for the most part, from what I remember anyway, most of the worlds in Birth by Sleep were probably about half the length of the regular worlds in most of the other Kingdom Hearts games. So you ended up getting through them quicker, and therefore it just sort of made sense, because obviously it was built for portable play. And it works effectively. I mean, really, Birth by Sleep was very impressive at the time. I mean, the PSP had to go full on if it wanted to play it properly. Oh boy!
Oh yeah.
The fact that they had a full performance mode as well.
It's one of the few games that I remember I begged my friend to borrow his PSP to play, and I did, but he had no the little speaker slider stick, so I had just the nub to go off of. That's not fun. I basically put it down and said, I think I'll wait till the inevitable HD remaster, which there was. I was happy about that.
Yes, thank God there was, because otherwise, I would never have been able to do a playthrough of the damn thing. But, I mean, I will always have a special place in my heart for Birth by Sleep, because, in order to get my copy of Birth by Sleep, I ended up painting my sister's bedroom, and my bride was a copy of Birth by Sleep, and I just borrowed my dad's PSP, and I just remember just having such a fun time with it, and it did sit as my favourite Kingdom Hearts game for a very long time.
It was basically my Birth by Sleep machine along with Crisis Core and Dissidia, so I have nostalgia for that early PSP era, none for the Vita, not because it was a bad system or anything in my eyes, just because I never really owned it, but Birth by Sleep, definitely my jam.
It is kind of funny that, I got a PS TV, and I was, my first thought wasn't, oh man, let's play all those Vita games. My first thought was, oh man, let's play all those PSP games on the TV. Because almost anything that was really, really good on the Vita ended up getting re-release on either Steam or the PS4, so it's just, there's a couple of those standout, PSP games that just, never got a re-release. I mean, we're still begging for Crisis Core, especially after what happens in the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Is that a, I don't like the Final Fantasy VII Remakes approach, or is that the general reaction to the Final Fantasy VII's Remakes approach to things?
No, it's basically, once you get to the end, you're like, oh, I better play Crisis Core, huh? I think that's an important thing. I can't just go off my knowledge of the original Final Fantasy VII. So now I'm, trying to figure out how to hack my PS TV, because a certain music star who is in Crisis Core doesn't want that game put up on digital storefronts.
Oh, of course it's something like that.
It's gacked. I'm talking about gacked. That's why Kingdom Hearts wasn't able to be a downloaded game for a while, was because of Utada Hikaru and the music licensing that comes from her music. It took until the PS4 versions for it to be available as a digital download.
Sounds about right, to be fair. But speaking of, celebrities effectively causing chaos with licensing for video game related things. Did you guys see that Uri Geller the other day basically said, "I'm sorry for what I did in the 90s, stopping Kadabra cards from getting made. I've gotten in touch with Nintendo to say you can go ahead and start printing them again, it's fine." Which is hilarious.
Yeah, because why would you go to Nintendo when they have nothing to do with that? You should have gone to the Pokemon Company, fool! Yeah, I saw that there, and I think the big problem is not just the spoon, but the fact that his name in Japanese is Geller, which is, that's a little on the nose.
I was thinking to myself earlier, I'm going to make a joke about that if it ever gets brought up, like his Japanese name was Yuri Geller, or something like that. And it turns out, well, reality is stranger than fiction.
Yep, that's literally what it is. His name is Uri Geller minus the I in Japanese.
You could have done that like a few weeks earlier so we could talk about it at the end of the Crown Tundra DLC. What a selfish prick.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, Sleeping Beauty. This is probably my favourite world in the Birth by Sleep. I just love everything about it. The aesthetic, the gameplay, especially the music. Like, this one right here is actually a song in the demo.
Ah.
He's going proud.
I'm going proud! Don't worry, lads, we'll get to you when it comes time for Dream Drop Distance. Alright, let's see if my muscle memory will kick in. Probably not.
Either way, you're at least going to get through this.
I do like how for this world, though, in both, Birth by Sleep and this, you have enemies besides the unversed being Maleficent's minions. I do like that whenever Kingdom Hearts does that. Every now and then you're like, oh right, sometimes there's an antagonistic force that isn't the one, that's everywhere. Like when you fight the random Tron baddies in the Dream Drop Distance Tron world. It's like, oh hey, right, there's other things that we can fight.
Yeah, I think that sort of is what makes the Disney worlds exciting when they do that, because oftentimes the Disney-related bosses, even if they're not necessarily done well, are the ones that are more exciting to experience than some of the heartless ones. Kingdom Hearts 1, I think, did the best in terms of having the most Disney-related villains to take down, because obviously you had a fight against Oogie Boogie and Jafar and Hades and Clayton and who else? Ursula and Captain Hook, and so there was a lot of Disney villain fights in that, which was really cool. But then as you got further into the series, they tended to just go for the enemy type of the day type boss fights. I'd say the Dream Drop Distance is probably the worst for that.
Also, holy crap, Tom, great job.
Thank you. Seems my muscle memory remained after all. Oh, I really like that song.
It's a good song.
Yeah, baby. Wow, I wasn't too far off a full excellent either.
Nice. And you unlock some sea salt ice cream as a card.
I really want some sea salt ice cream for Christmas, actually.
There's tons of recipes online you could follow along with.
Maybe. Don't worry, Michael, we'll get to you. We have something else to do first.
So, blue dress or pink dress for Aurora? What do we prefer?
Depends on the mood.
Oh, fancy.
That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. I might be completely on the fence, but I don't care.
This is technically the boss of Enchanted Dominion, so I'm just going with it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I understand why they put it where they did, but then equally I'm just like, you could have just put this at the end, like, had Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty in a circle, and then have this fight at the end of it. and then move on to the next ring, effectively like it is in the original game, because that would work, but hey, choices.
I actually played this one here on Proud the first time I did it, because I saw there's the Proud achievement for it, and it's actually a really fun one on Proud, but there's some parts where it asks you to, like, hold one button, tap another button, and do flicks at the same time, and I was like, oh, that's not very nice.
Yeah, it can be quite the challenge.
I think out of all the styles, I find this to be the easiest one, and I enjoy it, and I think a large part of it does come from the fact that you have so much more visibility with it being a stationary sort of radial wheel instead of it, you know, you flying around and potentially getting screwed up by the perspective. So I kind of love these types of battles.
Yeah, I think it also helps that you have got a very firm line of this is the point when you need to hit the notes in order for it to work. Whereas even though you've got the same thing with the notes glowing when you're intended to hit them, there's still that stuff in your brain going, I can't figure out quite the point at which I should be thinking about making the connection. But just having that clear line there makes it so much easier.
I also highly recommend coming into this boss battle with Team Dream Drop Distance, because it's so weird. It's so weird seeing them fighting Maleficent here. You look at it and you're like, what type of mod nonsense is this?
Well, that's just what I like about Melody and Memory, really. Not too bad. The guns let me down a little bit there, but otherwise that was a pretty solid fight, and we get the field version as well. Huh. Oh, right, okay. You gotta do it multiple times. Yes, you have to do it multiple times. Maleficent gets nothing. Fuck all. Okay, well, she gets a card, alright.
Probably gonna have the most amount of cards out of any Disney character, honestly, with her vast amount of appearances.
Yeah, she's literally everywhere.
Even in the mobile game quite a bit.
Oh, I know. I know, Tanner. Still more to do. Sure.
That would technically be the correct choice, because all of the other worlds appear in the second loop.
Oh, alright. You can do it, Tom. Proud mode. Big boy, let's go. Radiant Garden. How do we feel?
I think the name Hollow Bastion is way cooler.
I mean, it is, but it's darker, and so it makes sense that, you know, it had a nice light name when it sort of was original before it got corrupted by the darkness. And also there were a lot of gardens in the original version, so...
Replaced with vast amounts of nothingness, which, hey, isn't that a metaphor for capitalism?
Yep.
It is kind of... I did like how, in general, in Birth by Sleep, like, this was, like, the central meeting point for all characters, and from this, like, yeah, you go into the second half with everyone at least aware of what's going on, because that is a nice sort of thing where whenever you're viewing media with multiple sort of characters going at stuff at once, there's sometimes where you're like, can you guys just talk to each other? Can you just, like, you know, send a message on your phone, your Keyblade phone, which they didn't have at this time. That was more of a joke than I realized. Yeah, that totally is a thing later. Can you just be like, hey, you know, how you doing? Can we talk about what's going on right now? And they have a bit of that moment, which is quite nice, because there's nothing worse than when it's like the entire plot could be solved if they had cell phones.
Although, with Birth by Sleep, and it's a thing that I will always posit, is that Birth by Sleep, in the way that it's written, is very much in line with the classical principles of a tragedy. So a literary tragedy rather than, an actual real-life tragedy.
Ooh.
And part of that is the characters not communicating properly, leading to awful event that occurs. And I think that's one of the things I will always be quite impressed about with Birth by Sleep 4, because it's clearly targeting those tropes and does it very well.
I almost got that star for don't miss a certain amount of times, but I was 1 over. That's kind of tricky on Proud.
Yeah. As you start going through, you start to, as you go further in, the Prouds get prouder, let's say.
Well, it's asking me to do Proud again on this, so I guess Radiant Guardians is going to be Proud too.
There are a lot of Proud songs towards the end of the game.
Don't expect many more. Hey, play this on easy. It's like, no. You gotta go all in for this. Oh boy, there they are. Those enemies with the valves. Oh, they're the bane of my existence.
There you go. That's more like it, Tom.
I'm just going and making sure that I've got the actual name of those particular enemies.
They're called those annoying ones with the valves that block my OP techniques that I used an online skill calculator to get.
That is fair.
When I was kind of playing through all the games to try and, prepare for Kingdom Hearts 3, I actually went and, I found a skill calculator, which is basically, hey, combine these two skills to get these OP ones really early, and boy, geez, does that make the game fun to just be starting off the game with some of the stuff that's like end game, because, you can fuse it together, no one can stop you. Though, of course, some of those skills needed to come from playing the Fortune Street minigame, which has its own set of fun RNG.
Oh, yes, that party board, which was just... oh my god.
You know what? I like that it's in because of the fact that I actually really enjoy Fortune Street as a game, and the fact that they just included Fortune Street in Kingdom Hearts is kind of awesome. But at the same time, it's like, boy, I sure want to get this one powerful thing. Better hope Tigger doesn't land on this space and grab it first!
Oh, you motherfucker!
Also, the thing that I think I remember always doing is that you sort of always want to play it as soon as you are able to, because it's the quickest way to get Cure.
Yes, yep, that's right.
Also, that particular unversed is the Tank Toppler.
Ooh.
It turns out that
My hopes of getting good scores on those two tracks have been toppled. Here is some Kairi-focused actual footage for you all. It was only a little bit, you get a smidge.
Just talking about herself for a second before going back to stuff that she has no idea was going on at this time.
She got told, who cares?
He bequeathed Riku his Keyblade.
Yeah, touch the Keyblade, okay, now you're cursed.
Ventus learned he would become the Keyblade, and Master
Like,
Ericus
what
tried
would
to
happen
seal him
if,
away.
like, Aqua was running and she tripped and fell and dropped her Keyblade, and, like, some dude just came and picked it up to hand it to her?
The Keyblade
Would she just be screwed?
I don't know, honestly. Well, it wouldn't be her Keyblade that
that
the other person would get. It would be one of their own.
That's true, that's true.
To an end.
And then there's the whole scene where Jack Sparrow just grabs the Keyblade and made everyone go, is Captain Jack Sparrow gonna be a Keyblade wielder? No.
No, don't be stupid. Oh, fuck yes.
It's the Mikhail Mouse song!
Uh-huh. Who's the leader of the pack who's made for you and me? MICKEYMOUSE.
Thank you, Richard. I'm glad you had that memorised. Axel has taught you well. God, I needed to come down after those previous two tracks. They had some really hard note lines, so this will be a palate cleanser in more way than one.
Quite right.
Probably the only, Disney song that my whole family knows. I think it's like, most of the other ones, like my family would just be like, I don't really know what this is. But this song, my grandma likes to sing randomly, just like it was everywhere on TV back in the day.
That is fair enough. Looking at Toontown, it just makes me think of the Toontown game that used to exist.
There's so many funny meme images of that online. Like, there's this one of, like, someone trying to explain what I need to find what it is, because it has some of the funniest, like, two characters saying random stuff that shouldn't be in the same game.
I remember really enjoying that, actually. It was surprisingly well put together.
Okay, it has a little, like, pink cat saying, "You are the worst person I met in Toontown," and then there's a yellow dog that says, "You are deaf to the sins of this world." I never myself played it, but I definitely saw tons of advertisements for it back in the day, specifically on 4Kids TV, or Fox Kids, or Fox Box, where I'd watch all my cartoons, because, Canadian commercials didn't actually, like, they couldn't air subscription service stuff for kids, so, like, there was never any MMO commercials, but as soon as I went onto that American channel, it was like, "Hey kids, get your parents' credit card to play Toontown online! Spend all your money!
Hey kids, sign up now, get a gun, for free, for you!"
Talk to adults who say they're kids!"
One good, one miss. I was so close to a full excellent on fucking Michael Mouse's March. Well. I'm feeling bad now, so it's all good. Oh, son of a bitch. Whatever.